Monster Rebellion podcast, hosted by Johnny Red.
He's clinically insane.
Do you know what this world needs? This world needs an anti-hero.
All right, this is Johnny Red with the Monster Rebellion podcast. This week's guest, we have Jamie Guyon.
Hi.
We have Sean Levac,
Hi.
a.k.a. Benton Gaybar.
Hey, guys.
He's going to do a little split personality throughout the episode. And our audio engineer, Kyle Connors.
Hello.
How's everyone?
Good.
Wonderful.
Good. Yeah.
Wonderful. I decided that the topic this week would be paranormal experiences because I think if you talk to anybody, almost everybody has some kind of story they like to tell. I put it up to almost 90% of the population has had a paranormal experience of some kind.
Yeah, I saw that movie too. It's good.
Not that shitty movie.
I'm lost.
You're lost?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just tell you when to chime in, Kyle.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the reason I'm bringing it up was I went up to Fort Kent this past weekend and stayed in my parents' spare bedroom. And as I was sleeping, I heard a voice wake me up, and it was a real quick, John. And I wouldn't have been freaked out about that, but the last time I stayed in my parents' bedroom in that spare room, I heard that before, and I thought it was just, my imagination. So when it happened again, I kind of, laid in bed for a little bit, listened, then fell back asleep, and then it happened again, like, John, and it woke me up. Thought it was kind of creepy. Throughout the night, I thought I heard other voices in that bedroom. I thought I heard somebody walk around in the hallway into the bedroom. The next morning, I tell my parents and my niece and my sister about it, and they start telling me, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time in that bedroom." I'm like, "Well, thanks a lot. You guys put me in the poltergeist room. You didn't even warn me." Oh Jesus!
Was the other voice Consuela, your cleaning lady?
No, we fired her and deported her ass back to wherever. But anyway, I wanted to ask you guys if you had any paranormal experiences at all. Since the podcast pretty much centers around weird stuff like that, it fascinates me.
Sean has told me several stories.
Sean has some, but I mean, right now he's
busy.
He's displaying them in text form.
Form. Say it, Jamie.
Fuck you.
say drawer.
What?
Say drawer.
Drawer?
Like drawer. Like I'm gonna take the clothes out of my drawer. It's such a weird word to say.
Hey, I'm not the one that says Gaz. Johnny
Gaz.
Oh, he's still.
I say Gaz, and there's a sign in Canada.
Jamie, say pillow.
Spelled Jay-Z.
Pillow?
Yeah. He didn't do it because you're calling it.
It's because he's concentrating on
Yeah,
how to
yeah.
talk.
Say
He's
die.
constipated.
Say die.
He says pillow with like an E.
Who, Jamie?
Yeah.
Say
Pillow.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
I'm not Jim Carrey.
Pedo.
Pedophile.
you'd say that.
My pedophile blanket. Okay.
Okay, we're off track already.
So Sean.
What? Oh, you want to hear about my paranormal story?
Yes.
All right. Now, it's been years and years and years. I'm 28, and this happened when I was like probably 5 or 6. And since I was that age, I've told the same exact story to everyone. It was a hot summer night. I remember my brother and I always liked to sleep downstairs in the summertime because upstairs would get so hot. And it was like a rainy day, so it was really humid. So my father let us sleep on the couch down in the living room, and we were both too scared to like sleep down there by ourselves. So I asked him if he could sleep down there with us, and he said, "Well, I'll sleep in the dining room," which was the next room over. And so we were like, "Okay, we'll sleep downstairs." Well, little did I know that while we were asleep, he crept upstairs to go sleep in his own bed. My father, that is. And Kevin and I slept on the couch. My feet and Kevin's feet were kind of together. And we were having a foot fight. And I fucked him. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah, that's my brother. He was facing the outside window, facing like towards the street. And my face was facing towards the kitchen, like towards the sink area. So I woke up in the middle of the night, and the moon had come out, the skies cleared up and the moon came out. And as I woke up, I noticed that I could see someone like standing in front of the window in the kitchen above the kitchen sink, and you could like see really good because the moonlight was shining through, so it cast like a perfect shadow. Like you couldn't see like anything else other than the outline of a body. So I was just pretty much thought to myself like, okay, and I saw smoke coming up like from its mouth, like it was smoking a cigarette. So I thought right off the bat it was my mom. So I went, Mom. And it didn't do anything. And for some stupid ass reason, I said, Dad. And it didn't do anything. And then as for all you people that don't know what ma tante means my aunt in French. And I said, ma tante. And it turned around and I couldn't see a face. All it was an outline of a shadow. And it turned around and it kind of bent over a little bit and opened its arms like it was going to run at me and hug me.
Maybe
and,
it was your matante.
Huh?
Maybe it was your matante.
Maybe it was my matante from hell.
I just met a matante that passed.
Scary. That was one of the scariest things. And to this day, I'm 28 years old, and that was still one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed in my life. So the stairway was right in the middle of the house, so I was contemplating on getting off the couch as fast as I could and running upstairs and waking up my mother because I thought my dad was still in the dining room. So I knew if I went upstairs, I would only see my mom. So I ran up the stairs, all four fucking arms and legs, and I get upstairs and my dad's in the bed. If I was like this age, knowing what I know now, like the words and stuff, would have been like, what the fuck, Dad? What are you doing up here? You said you'd be downstairs, you piece of shit.
Daddy, you're a bad daddy.
Dad.
Okay, so
Sean doesn't respond in fear, he responds in anger.
So anyway, but I have another one, but
Wait,
I'm going to let Jamie
let's-
Gagnon.
All right, JB.
oh god damn it.
Jamie Onion.
Onion, yes. Let's start with the easier one. We used to have a lot of sleepovers between my friend Brad and I, and we had Sean over, but it was like lockdown. We had to get visitation rights to have him over or something. Anyway, we had I'm trying to breathe in the mic.
Yeah, don't. There's going to be so much mold on there tomorrow.
Yeah. We had so we were staying up to like, oh God, it must have been like 2-3 o'clock at this point, and my room was across the house from my dad's room, and then the cellar doorway was right next to my room, and like so they had a door and you would go down the stairs into the cellar, and so like I said, it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and we were getting ready to go to bed anyway, and oh yeah, my dad, he gets up pretty early, so he would never be up this late, but we all of a sudden hear like scratching downstairs, like, is the cat down there again or something? And then we hear like a slow but steady footstep going up the stairway, and it's like, who the fuck is Travis here? Is he?
Because that's how Travis walks.
Right. Yeah, especially when he's drunk. But no, we just waited. We listened for it. It got louder and louder as it progressed up the stairway, and then all of a sudden it got to the landing and it stopped, and we waited for the door to open. We didn't open our door. We were scared shitless, but we waited for the door to open. We waited for about a good 5 minutes, and then finally we opened our door, looked out, and it was all dark, and the switch to the hallway light was right across the door, and the door opens like inward towards the cellar, so like I was scared that I wouldn't have time to turn the light on before it jumped me or something, whoever it was, because the cellar door was in the basement, was pretty easy to get into, so it was like, could be a murderer or something, I don't know. I'm a stupid child with a stupid imagination.
Watch too many movies.
A lot of Freddy at that point, yeah. So anyway, I finally get the light switch on, and then about another 5 minutes later, get the door open, and there's nothing there, and there was no sound of anybody walking back down the stairs, and we can never explain that to this day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I'm sorry, what? Can you put your fat mouth in the mic?
Okay, so I guess it's safe. Well, Kyle, do you have any?
I don't really have like any childhood ones. The only thing that I have that's somewhat legitimate is Jamie and I went to New York City whenever I was like 18, 19, and you were 21 or 22.
Yeah, you were 19.
Because you bought me beer when we were there.
Yep.
Oh, censor that.
You bought beep beep beep.
Root beer.
Yeah, root beer.
Yes, root beer.
Mug.
And
Sarsaparilla.
basically, we went to bed pretty late, and in the hotel room, which was right outside Times Square, we just kept seeing. I woke him up early. I don't know if you weren't. Maybe you weren't sleeping.
I
don't
don't
know.
sleep light.
Ever.
No, I sleep a lot. That's the point.
Well, basically, I was like, "Hey, there's like a light in here," and it was in people. And then I didn't know this until later on when I saw some stupid ass show on the History Channel about like orbs, and people saying they're either like spirits or aliens or something. But there was a white orb in our room, like a bright white light that was kind of floating, and it would move like if you were painting, like, and you were just doing brush strokes, it kind of just like floated and it would do a spin, and it would kind of just float through the air, just.
How old
Yep.
was the motel you guys stayed in, or the hotel?
It was a freaking Hilton.
I mean, yeah, it was like a Hilton. It's like a Hilton Times Square or Marriott Times Square or
So it's
something.
probably old as shit.
Well, yeah, but everything in there was new. But it could have been. I mean, but
Yeah.
think about it. New
Yeah,
York
but
City, people die there every day.
Just think about how many hookers get killed by politicians in Hiltons.
Yeah, you know, Republicans that cover it
all
up.
the time.
But
Oh,
that
you
but
saw
that
a
was
hooker
weird.
orb.
And my parents were sleeping, and they were in the same room. Mm-hmm. It was really, really odd, and it was the only thing that I was just like. It got to the point to where I just was like, I guess I'll go to sleep because it's not really threatening, and I'm not really scared. It's just weird as shit.
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever seen an orb, and then like he said, I didn't know until watching these shows that was a common occurrence.
Yeah, that's something like recently on those shows now they talk about like orbs are really popular. Me and Travis had went to Fort Knox last summer, and I took a bunch of pictures in the room that supposedly was haunted, and one of the pictures came back with orbs all over it, which we couldn't explain where they came from. Could have been dust, anything.
Fort Knox.
Yep. Once again, an insightful piece of information. But anyway, I guess the point of this is that this happens often, right? It's not, you know, everyone likes
Yeah.
to say that it's a bunch of crazy saying these
Yeah.
things, but I bet you 90-something% of the population
Has seen
has seen or heard that.
I believe in ghosts. I've seen a ghost.
You are a ghost. Actually, I'm a ghost.
I'm a
I was a
goat.
ghost in Ghost Punchers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay, we're going to describe how we came up with the idea for Ghost
good
Punchers.
segue.
We were
Me and you were
me
sitting.
and you were watching a ghost movie or horror movie or something, and there's a scene where they're trapped in the basement and there's like a ghost in front of them and they had nowhere to go. So Sean asked me, like, what would you do if you were in that situation where you had nowhere to go? And
I
I'm
said
like,
I'd shit.
you said he'd
myself.
shit himself, and I said, has anyone tried punching a ghost? Can we just, would it work?
And then that's how, we
I
just
think we
started
came up with
talking
Ghost
about
Punchers.
it.
The scariest story I ever heard is from a friend of mine, and I won't use his name. I didn't get permission to.
Is it
John
This is
Guile.
the one on
John
the
Guile.
military base, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fucked up story.
Okay,
Let
listen to
him
this.
tell it.
I'm sorry.
So this friend of mine's older brother was finishing college down in Bangor, and he was renting a house on an old military base. And he came down to visit his brother. Now his brother worked overnights at a convenience store through college. So he was upstairs in the spare bedroom at the end of a hall, and in the middle of the night he thought he saw somebody cross the hallway into the bathroom. And he thought maybe his older brother had come home early. Then he starts hearing a woman crying, just screaming and crying in the bathroom, okay? And saying things like, how could you do this to me? I can't believe you did that. Now, here's the thing. He's on, like, the third floor of this place. There's no way to get out the window. To get out of that bedroom, he'd have to cross the hallway and cross that open bathroom door. Now, what would you guys do in that situation? Would you just close your eyes and run? Would you try jumping out the window?
The second story.
Third story, I
Oh
believe.
shit!
I'd consider the window.
Jamie would break every bone in his body if he jumped out of there.
I think I would stay in the room until I don't know.
Well, that's what he did. He said he weighed his options. He's like, well, I don't want to see what the fuck's in the bathroom. There's no way I
Right.
want to see what's in the bathroom. So he didn't want to go out the window either. So he said he just laid there and kept his eye toward the hallway, you know, to make sure that it wasn't going to come out and come get him. And here's the thing. He thought, okay, 10, 15 minutes, this thing's going to be over. 4 hours.
Whoa,
He laid
what?
there hearing that in the bathroom.
That is
Oh
fucked.
my god! It's
And
like
where was that at?
That was at I don't know where the military base. It was a military base in like the 50s. And
Is
now
it
it's
in
like
Bangor?
It's in Bangor. It's like Housen now.
Yeah, like close to where you used
Right
to live.
over by the golf course
Yeah.
where it's because that's all military housing from post-war.
Yeah.
So that was
That's what it
probably
was.
where it was.
Yeah,
And
It probably was the golf course. Probably that used to be like a strip or something.
and the theory is And then the older brother said he used to see an old military guy at night in his room. And there was a story or rumor that a military guy had killed his wife somewhere in that vicinity or in that area. So he was thinking that was the house he was in.
It's hard to say. Like, you watch a movie, like you say, why the fuck would you go down in there? Why would you go investigate? But then, like, after 4 hours, I might be like, okay, now I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna die, but at least I get to see what's going on down here.
Like, enough of that shit. I gotta get up early. Christ.
I'm scared as shit right now. I'm really
He's like,
scared.
when
Did
I
you
first
see
heard
my
that
face?
story, I was just like, I sat there like, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd probably kill myself if I just like done.
This is not a
I cry.
ghost story. I'm not trying to speak out of turn, but there was this adult friend of mine. He has a teenage daughter.
Why did you have to specify adult?
Because I don't want to give away who it was. Like, if I say it was somebody who was a certain profession, you narrow it down significantly.
But an adult could be anybody.
Almost 50.
Why are you trying to hide this?
I'm not trying to
person?
get specifics. I'm just asking why you said adult.
It's my
You
dad.
could have said,
All right.
Is he
No.
wanted?
No,
you could
no.
have said this person, not this
Okay,
adult.
this person
Now you're
who's-
making me think that it's a child, and you're trying to cover it up the other way.
Oh my god! Don't listen to him. No. Okay. So, well, his daughter is like 17, 18. She was, or maybe a little younger. She was dating this guy, and he used to work for the news station, one of the news stations around here. And he said that he was running camera the day that they were called to this house, and it was like this triple or quadruple homicide. Some guy went nuts, killed this whole family, and then killed himself in this house. Turns out her boyfriend, his daughter's boyfriend, lived there, and he didn't have the heart to tell her the truth. But I'd love to go investigate that house. It'd be pretty interesting.
All right, we're back with the Monster Rebellion podcast. I do apologize. Sean, a.k.a. Benton Gay Bar, came down with a case of explosive diarrhea or something, and he had to leave. So we're going to try to continue this conversation without Sean. We still got Jamie and Kyle.
I almost had a joke. I was like, I
just
shouldn't
had a
say
joke.
it. I was going to say, God rest his whole.
God rest his soul.
Probably should have said it earlier.
God bless his soul.
Okay, yeah. Well, his whole will be dead once he's done
Oh,
with
yeah,
shitting.
once he's done. But you did have McDonald's.
That's right.
All
I
right.
got a couple more in me anyway. So.
Okay. Another one. Tell me another
Oh,
one.
okay. I'm gonna leave the scariest one for last, but the one I had mentioned before to John was the night. It was a day like we hung out with my cousin, and his parents would put on like these like pig pits or a roast beef, beef. What do you call it?
A roast beef pit?
A pot roast.
I
like,
used to
a
love
pit.
roast beef pits.
Oh, me too. No, I'm like, they do like a pit supper, and then they'd have like a big thing. We'd always play like football
pig
or whatever.
roast.
That thing. Yep. Pot roast, pig roast, whatever. Then we would play like basketball, football, and then we played kick the can, and it was getting dark. And some of the kids that went home, it was just me, my brother, my cousin Jason, whose house it was, and a couple other kids. But I ended up being the one that was it, I guess you'd call it. And Jason had the only white shirt on. This is important. I'll come back to that. But he changed, and then Travis had the other white shirt on, but he had like this weird like blue vest, like felt vest. I don't know what the fuck it was, but he had a long sleeve shirt, white shirt under it. And I had already found him or whatever. And I'm looking around for the rest of the group, and he has a lot of acres behind his house, Jason and his parents. And there's a lot of firewood. The pit was there and all that kind of thing. And they had a tree line surrounding the entire house. And so I'm looking down past the garage into that tree line, past the firewood, and I'm like, oh, I think I see somebody, Trav. And I'm like, I don't remember the phrase you have to say, but something.
I'm looking it up right now, so
Okay.
you can keep going.
Something I see, and I'm like, naming off all the names, and I say, like, Jason, like, no. And he just kept staring at me. I'm like, does he not see that I'm looking at him? He's supposed to be hiding. So this guy, I keep saying all the names, and I'm like, I think I named everybody. And I was like, Trav, is that true? He's like, yeah. And so he stands there, And eventually he just recedes back into the tree line. And I'm like, okay, asshole, you're supposed to play the game. Obviously you didn't see that I was watching you. So we play the rest of the round, and I catch everybody, and I'm like, so who was behind the tree line? And they're like, well, I wasn't. No one would admit to it. And I'm like, well, somebody was there. But the thing about him that really got me weirded out, and it didn't. I knew it wasn't one of them, but I thought it was. So that's why I said all their names. But it was dusk. It was getting dark, and the person had like a glow on them, like as if the sunlight was directly above their heads, beating down on them. And I couldn't make out their face, but it was like really bright. Like it was almost like they're glowing, and it was so dark.
What was the line?
I don't know. So it's in Kick the Can. You have to say some kind of phrase, and then I see.
I think it's just depends where you came from, because I'm reading some that I never did, like 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100. No, it's not 1 potato, 2 potato, eeny, meeny, miny. No, these are all just
gibberish.
Yeah, it's all. Maybe is it Kick the Can a Northern Maine thing?
No.
It's not?
No, I remember some retarded ass country song when I was young, and they talked about
They
that.
talk about Kick the Can.
I'm sure it's like everything. It's regional in terms of their phrases. Anyway, yeah. So I could never figure out who this was, and some people in the group I was trying to find earlier, they admitted to seeing him too, but they kind of like jumped on the bandwagon. You know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I saw him too by the fireplace.
Get some of that ghost action.
Right, yeah, hot ghost action. My face, and then. So Trav and I are the only ones that really saw it, because we were just looking straight at him and couldn't not figure out who it was. And
maybe you just want to play Kick the Can.
I mean,
did you ask him?
I would have. I mean, I wish like this.
You're pretty impolite.
I know.
That was pretty. What a dick.
Sorry.
Dick move.
Well, it's like we talked about earlier. Would you run to that kind of thing? But that wasn't like scary. It was just off-putting, and it was still light out, so it's not like it's not like nighttime. But I would have ran to him if I wasn't the person who was in it, and I really wish I did, but I never did, and that's what happens, I guess.
Well, a lot of these experiences, they seem to be off-putting at first until you think about what you might be seeing, and then you get scared like after. But
right.
Yeah, you either go, oh shit, that was just so and so, or you actually say, oh fuck. There's
fuck.
really no explanation for that.
Yeah. One of my other stories was when me and my parents and my older sister were living in a house that they were renting before they bought the house we grew up in. And I was probably 3 years old at the time, and I remember vividly to this day, every night standing at the top of the stairway to the second floor of the house in pitch black, but down at the bottom of the stairs, all my toys would always be lit up, like there was a spotlight on these toys. And I remember I used to go down, and I remember I used to have this feeling that something was telling me, come downstairs and play with the toys with me. And it wasn't until like years and years of thinking about that I asked my parents. And they said, we used to find you downstairs in the pitch black playing with toys, and we had no idea how you got out of your crib, over the gate by the door, all the way downstairs without falling down and playing with these toys. It was always really creepy. My father found me once outside the house, sitting on the front early in the morning. He had went to work, and he had forgot something, and he came back, and he saw me sitting outside in the snow. And he had no idea. He said it was like 2 minutes that he had left and come back. And it wasn't long that they moved out of that house. But I remember hearing things, and being really young like that, you probably shouldn't remember that, but I remember it clear as day. I thought it was just dreams and stuff until they verified something was going on in that house.
How old were you?
I was probably around 3.
Wow.
Yeah. And then a few summers ago, it burnt down mysteriously. My theory is that Satan blew a load in that house. Oh! He just took it down. He was like,
oh no, my house.
No. What's your thoughts on maybe? Do you believe that these are people that died and came back? Do you believe like the ghost thing, or do you believe maybe there are other dimensional beings that are crossing over?
It's hard to say.
What's your theory, doctor?
Doctor, I'm not a doctor. You're the doctor. The thing about it, like
John just got off when you said that.
I'm Dr. 12.
Dr. 12.
The thing about it to me is like, okay, string theory talks about that. Like there are multiple dimensions on top of us that we'll never see, but they sometimes cross over and interact with us. But then some people have so personal experiences with like loved ones they've lost, and most times really recent after that loss, that I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards more of the people element, but then who knows? It could be anything.
Yeah, maybe they're just liars.
With the scientists who are positing
No,
string
the
theory.
ghost. Like, sure,
Oh.
sure, Miron. I just want to get in your dimension.
They just right.
Just trying to get in here.
I'm gonna dress up in your
Open
your
a door.
dead husband's skin.
just asshole pranksters.
I hope that's what it is.
That'd be pretty funny.
Well, think about it. If you had a device that would allow you to go into another dimension, what would you do with it?
Everything.
Everything?
If I had nothing to lose, I would use it. I don't think I'd use it otherwise.
Okay.
It'd be like, oh, what if I fuck up my life now? I mean, maybe I could be less hated. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Why'd you answer that so quickly?
I don't know. I wonder. Okay, the reason I mentioned that was, have you guys heard of the hyperdimensional resonator?
No.
Can't say that I have.
Can't say you have? Okay. This is the
His
story I
mic is
found
off anyway.
on the internet today. And it says, in 1981, I found this article on mysteriousuniverse.org, which is a great place to find crazy paranormal stories. Not the typical, I saw a ghost and I ran away, or I saw Bigfoot and I ran away. It was like layers to the weirdness.
What is it?
Mysteriousuniverse.org. And anyway, they posted an article today about something called the hyperdimensional resonator. And I'll read a part of it here. And it says, in 1981, Stephen L. Gibbs, a farmer from Clearwater, Nebraska, received an interesting message from himself. This new Stephen L. Gibbs was apparently from another dimension, and he had a diagram for a time machine called the sonic resonator, which he gave to our dimension's Stephen L. Gibbs. After building and testing the device, R. Gibbs, who now lives in Linden, Kansas, improved upon the device and renamed it the hyperdimensional resonator, which he began to sell as a time machine, astral projection generator, and healing device. And you can actually contact him and order one. And I'm looking at it right now. It looks like a bunch of pieces you would buy at like Radio Shack and stick in a box. Yeah, Kyle's got it up right there. And so, you know, I mean, it sounds crazy. Some farmer had a breakdown, went to Radio Shack, bought some stuff. But here's the thing. Scientists have been testing this thing, and this thing does something. They're not sure what it does, but it definitely does something when it's turned on. And let me get to that article. And there was a book written by Patricia Griffin Ress. And she says, I happened to meet someone who says you should contact this guy. She did and invited Gibbs to bring his device to her home in Omaha, Nebraska. What she experienced made her realize there was something odd about the Gibbs device. When he turned it on, clouds formed in the room and sparks danced around the chandelier. And although no one time traveled, the experience changed Ress's life. The next time she watched her favorite movie, Shane, something was wrong. Dialogue she'd memorized was altered or spoken by different characters. It was the same movie, but it wasn't. It scared me to death, she said. If you asked me to see this movie, Shane, I'd say no thanks. She said she believes Gibbs' HDR, short for whatever it was.
Right, hyperdimensional
resonator. Units somehow alter her reality. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article, but it goes on to have other scientists were testing it and saying that if this thing does something, it doesn't necessarily send you back or forward in time. It sends your consciousness to another reality to inhabit another version of yourself, is basically what it's saying.
Like a parallel universe
Yes,
kind of
like
thing?
a parallel universe. What are your thoughts, Jamie?
They theorize that there are so many dimensions that one could be just that fact, that in the movie Shane, there was different lines, and that's it. The only difference in the entire universe. Like, what?
That was it. That was the only thing that
Just the
changed.
writer just didn't write the exact same lines. That's it.
Right, but that could be like, imagine how many universes there would be, or dimensions there'd be.
Zeppelins. You know, there's always Zeppelins, like alternate.
Yeah.
It's because Led Zeppelin is the best band ever, so there's just Led Zeppelins everywhere.
Led Zeppelins.
Zeppelins and things
It's like
everywhere.
maybe one universe, horses have tiny dicks, and then
Maybe.
people have like dicks that have to carry over their shoulders. Oh, my dick's not.
What changed?
My back hurts today.
Oh God, I can't wear these pants.
I always love shows and things that do that. Like Family Guy did one where they just go to different universes, and there's always one thing that's wicked
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's funny is this Gibbs guy, like, apparently his alternate version of himself was an inventor and a genius and a scientist. and he sends the blueprints to another version of himself, and he's a farmer. It's like, just be like, fuck, you got to build this device.
It's like, what if like one person's like, oh, I finally get to create this machine so I can get laid, and then he goes to another dimension and like there's all asexual reproduction. It's like, no. Pulls a girl in bed. It's like, what? It's like, you don't have a vagina. Well, I thought you just wanted to go to bed.
She's like, I am
I'm
both.
tired. Yeah. Oh,
I sleep
have
with
at it.
everybody. Yeah.
I'm hermaphroditic.
You end up a traveling circus freak. All my
Because
work.
you have one.
All my work.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Well, I thought about that too. I'm like, if there's if I was like some genius inventor and I created the HDR, I'm just gonna call it HDR because I can't remember what it's actually called. And then I go try to find another version of myself, and I get to another reality, and I'm like, "Where's the Johnny Red here? I need to give him the blueprints to this device." And they're like, "Oh, he's filming a scat porn." It's like, fuck.
He's getting fucked by Ron Jeremy.
By Ron Jeremy.
Oh, God.
Fuck this. So I go to another dimension.
What if your bad luck is due to another evil version of yourself in another dimension?
It's just sending it all
trying
here.
trying to stop you from being like the good you're supposed to be, and he just shits on you constantly.
Yeah, that's sort of like what was that movie? Jet Li is the one.
Yeah.
When he goes around killing all these other versions and he gets stronger.
Yeah.
So there's another like Johnny Red getting all this shit, and I'm the last one. He's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Fuck.
Fuck me.
We both have super strength though.
You need to get to another reality. Where's Johnny Red? I gotta warn him. He works at the handjob hut now. Fucking hate it.
It's 2 for Tuesday.
It's 2 for Tuesday. I thought my life was rough.
My hands are calloused.
Well, it's funny though, because what's interesting in this is that he was a farmer, and scientists were like, all of a sudden he's got knowledge of like advanced physics and all this shit, from this information,
Right.
Which are like, well, that's odd. Like, it's not like he just had like a breakdown, because the thing does do something. I mean, it does resonate and it does give off frequency and all that other stuff, and it's just, is there some truth to it? Because he mentioned that it's not physical time travel, and if you think of time, like everyone thinks time is going forward or back. But what if time is like just a big jumbled mess? Like it's just, it's all at once. It's happening at once. And if he's just saying it's just sending your consciousness to other versions of yourself, it's not really time travel. It's just dimension travel, which there have been theories, like the multiverse theory and all that stuff, string theory. And
So like the other dimensions are different times? Because that would suck more, being stuck in the caveman era.
that's true. Caveman version of Jamie.
I'd be the smartest fuck for once in my life.
Oh my God, it's me. I haven't changed much.
Yeah. I have more eyebrow hair. Damn it.
How did I grow more hair?
Did he say how he got the message? Like in what form?
Let me go back here.
Sexual.
Oh, he said there was a package or something. Because I went onto YouTube and I was listening to an interview of him, and I thought the interview was 3 minutes long, but it was 3 hours long, and I was like, I'm not listening to this for 3 hours. So I listened to like the first 10 minutes, and he said a package was dropped off at a kid like an arcade, and it had specific instructions to get it to that version of Steve Gibbs, and in the package was a description from himself apparently.
See, to me, I'd love to find... The mystery to me is how the fuck did he get through to that dimension to tell somebody? You know what I mean?
Well, he created that machine.
Do you think he just switched over to... Would it have to be your counterpart, though?
I don't know.
Maybe he switched over to somebody else. I don't know. I have no...
Well, it seemed to be because, I mean, we'd have to get into it, but it said every person has like a frequency, and you can set it to your frequency, and you can travel to another version, but it would be you since it's your frequency or some BS like that. It's convenient for the story.
Yeah. So that person who switched to the Shane thing, do you think her other consciousness is now in...
I don't know.
Like they switched, or she just ruined her other person's... That's pretty interesting.
That is. Maybe they get just sent to like some void dimension full of demons and shit.
Oh, great.
Like,
so
awesome.
that's hell.
That's hell. Now, if you could find another version of yourself in another dimension, and they don't work at like the handjob hut or anything, they're perfectly fine.
Oh, damn.
What would you say to them? What would you say to yourself?
Well, for one, I would look like the crazy person because I'm like, hey, it's me, it's you, it's me. And like, what the fuck? Get the fuck away from me, psycho. I would probably say to myself, what's up? What are you doing? What are you doing for work? What do who are you dating or whatever? I don't know. That kind of stuff.
You wouldn't run up and be like me, like, we can take over the world. We can take over every world with this dimension hopping technology.
I might slap him, make sure I wasn't dreaming, because it's me,
Yeah.
right? So I slap him.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Would you feel it?
Ooh.
Ooh. If you made out, would you feel it? You know yourself.
I feel something. No, do you remember that article in Cracked about the what superhero? No, what stories in fiction could be based in reality? It was something like that. It was like the idea that every superhero always wins at the end or whatever, lives, because every single other like dimensional change, and every step of the way they fail or they die, but the person, the hero, never is that person because they always succeed.
Okay.
It's a really weird theory. I'd have to research it more.
So basically, if the hero wins, that's the only dimension where the hero wins? Like the rest, they all fail?
Right, but like if you're living that dimension and you get to that point, everybody else up to that point so far has died. It's something similar to that. In terms of using movie characters to do that. So like if, for example, Neo, if he was in the lobby of the hotel and then he gets shot, that character would never survive because the one in the movie is the one that wins at the end. So even at the end, when he gets shot by the agents, that other version died, and then that one wasn't the one we saw because the one who lived survived and beat them. And it was a really weird theory. I'd have to look into it, but it's fascinating.
It is. Is it sort of like what if you, since every dimension or every timeline or whatever is all separated, different things happen. What if you jump dimensions and you're already dead? Where would your consciousness go? Huh? Steve Gibbs, farmer scientist,
that demon one,
the demon one,
the hell,
the demon hell. You just wake up in a coffin. Fuck. This is scary.
Why am I a skeleton?
That'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Fucking science.
So
No other thoughts on that, Jamie?
no, I think
That's how we're gonna end it with fuck science.
Yep.
Okay.
Your call.
All right. Well, I'm gonna move on to another article, and I noticed Kyle was reading it earlier. And this is a telepathic Sasquatch that talked to a couple. And I'm just going to read a bit. Okay.
Was this same site?
Same site, mysteriousuniverse.org. And the author's talking about this couple that came to him a few years ago and told him a story. And it says, it came to me a few years ago from a couple named Donnie and Lynn, a 30-something pair originally from Tulsa, who were living on the fringes of Oklahoma City when I interviewed them. March 8, 2007, Donnie told me, marked the couple's second wedding anniversary, and as keen outdoors people, with a love of nature, they decided to avoid the typical vacation resorts that would normally spring to mind, and instead decided to spend 9 days deep in the heart of the Grand, and I cannot pronounce this, Ouachita National Forest?
Oh, no, it's Wichita.
Wichita?
Yeah, it's like
Is that
a
how you
French
spell
sound.
it?
Oh
Okay.
my God, John. Wichita.
The OUI.
No, it's O-U-H-C-H.
Yeah, it's OU. It's weird.
Okay. Oh, we'll just say Wichita National Forest,
Like Ouija board.
I guess. I was going to say Pikachu.
Wichita.
Pikachu National Forest. This story is crazy anyway. It doesn't matter where it is. The decision was one they would later bitterly regret. Covering the western section of Arkansas and parts of eastern Oklahoma, the Wichita National Forest is the oldest national forest in the southern United States. All right. And around 5 p.m. one day, before their vacation ended, the pair was walking along the aforementioned Wichita National Recreation Trail when Donnie developed a distinct and foreboding feeling that we all experience and know. Okay, they're not spelling it.
As having to take a shit.
We all experience now and again, namely that being watched. He was not wrong. As the pair strolled along the trail hand in hand, to the left of them and at a distance of no more than 20 feet, a huge hairy creature crashing through the trees. Although up to this point, they had no more exposure to the world of cryptozoology than most people. They instantly knew what they were looking at was a Bigfoot. Donnie told me that the creature was truly immense, at least 8.5 feet tall, obviously male, and with very bulky arms and legs. I love the obviously male part. I want to stop right here.
Yep.
Because it's in quotations, obviously male.
Big old floppy dick.
They go, yeah, you're just like some reporters interviewed him. Like, what do you mean by obviously male? Well,
Come on, dude.
Come on. I was like, no, you got to tell me. Give me the details. I would believe your
His dick
story.
hit the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
It
three
was
legs.
swinging to and fro along the path, knocking rabbits and shit out. Don't make me relive this.
I could smell it. Smells like Bigfoot's dick.
If you think if you think of Bigfoot smells, you smell his dick. Obviously male. I lost my spot on that. And very bulky arms and legs. It had a cone-shaped head, massive chest. It was covered in dark brown hair, the typical Sasquatch stuff. And they said they got really scared, and his wife fell to her knees, and she was holding on to him. And then they said something truly strange occurred. In somewhat hesitant tones, Donnie said they continued to look on in both awe and fear, when suddenly their minds were filled with a soothing female voice that uttered the words, "Do not be afraid, you will not be harmed, do not come closer." It was as if we were thinking the words, but listening to them too, if that makes any sense. Donnie said as he grappled to explain the sensation of hearing the disembodied telepathic-like voice, and of course, the fact that a soft female voice emanated from a beast that looked like it could tear apart a small car, only made the whole situation even stranger. But even weirder things were to come. But let's talk about that.
Professor XX.
Professor XX.
Well, female chromosome. Yeah.
So we have a Bigfoot sighting, which is weird enough in itself.
Yeah.
But apparently it had a female voice.
With a big old floppy
And
dick.
communicated telepathically with a big old floppy dick. Have you read anything on the idea that Bigfoot isn't just an animal that we haven't discovered, that there's a supernatural element to it?
No.
You haven't read that?
So is it like a species?
Well,
Or what do you-
there's lots of stories of if there's a Bigfoot site, and there's often UFO sightings around the same time. And there's one, and also like weird dimensional tears sightings and shit, and portal sightings. And so the theory is that Bigfoot isn't just an animal, that it's actually a paranormal creature of some kind. Does that make him less scary or more scary?
If he's that intelligent, I'd be more excited to talk to him.
Yeah.
Her, it.
Why doesn't it wear pants? It's that smart.
So the females have big penises and the males have vaginas?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask her.
Okay, let's go talk to her.
Ask her him.
Hello. I mean, yeah.
And I recall reading one crazy story of a UFO witness who claimed that a UFO was lowering a Bigfoot into the woods on like a rope, and just dropping him off. Like the aliens are dropping off Bigfoots.
All right, Jerry, a little more to the left. Yep. Okay, drop me.
We gotta beat our quota of these Bigfoots. Doesn't blow your mind at all? Doesn't fascinate you? Doesn't make you think?
It fascinates me. It
Yeah.
doesn't blow my mind. I mean,
Well, we're talking about Bigfoot. It's like things your mind is already blown when you're entering the conversation itself.
there isn't much to blow, to be honest.
Well, it would if it was a female, right?
Unless the females have rugged men's voices, then it would be awkward. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be very depressed.
Here, let me touch you.
Let me touch
Oh,
you.
Jesus.
No, God. I know you're female. You
Run
can see
that
your
way.
giant labia, but
Or it's a giant clit, and like, I don't know what it is. It looks like a penis.
obviously. Yeah. Okay, the weirder thing to come was, not going to read the rest of the article, but one of them tried to take out a camera and take a picture, and the Bigfoot telepathically pretty much commanded them, do not do that, do not take a picture, do not do this, or something like that. I don't know if they're trying to make some kind of rationale on why we don't have really good Bigfoot pictures, but...
I mean, that would be a good reason not to, if they could control their exposure.
Yeah.
If they're an alien bred species or whatever have you, they would be more apt to prevent that kind of interaction. Okay, on the alien
But
kick-
why?
Go
I
ahead.
mean, if you're that advanced and you have that much ability and that intelligence, why are you just running around the woods? I don't get it.
I don't know, because it's not like you're mixing in, blending in, so people don't know
Yeah.
who you are. You can't be shown.
It's like you're building a fucking missile silo somewhere to take over the world.
Just so other animals don't freak out. I mean, what would be
Yeah,
the
maybe
point?
maybe it's a cloak and dagger, or not cloak and dagger. Maybe it's a cloaking device.
That was a Marvel duo.
I remember them.
Okay, good. Now speaking of the alien kick, I think I told you this, John. There was a documentary in the mid '90s that Disney put on to promote their new Tomorrowland attraction, and I heard about it. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But then the way it was hosted by Robert Urich, who,
Yes.
well, I think he died a couple years after of cancer, but he had been a big star. I don't know, whatever it was. All I know is my mom was really sad when he died because I think it was soaps and stuff. I don't know.
Yep.
Anyway, he hosted it, the special, and Michael Eisner was at the beginning of it, and it was essentially saying how UFOs are everywhere, and like no, dummy, of course they're real. This is what we're telling you, and like in this documentary, it was only aired once in 5 states and never showed again. It's on YouTube now. You just type in Walt Disney UFO documentary. But it was like saying, UFO has been watching us for, however many years, and after the A bomb, that's what signaled them that we're ready to be interacted with.
Okay.
But like they even said in the article, like the military, obviously they've outright said we found a UFO, and then they covered it up.
Cover it up, yeah.
But then they also said that some reports saying the general populace is too stupid or something to be interacted with. It would cause society to collapse.
But do you think that if that is true, we're going to speak theoretically on everything,
Yep.
or hypothetically, I should say. Is it the government convinced the aliens not to do that, or were the aliens like, we shouldn't reveal ourselves like that?
Yeah, I feel like it just would be them. Probably based on the reaction of the people who actually met them. They probably said, all right, we just need to get the fuck out of here.
Like, they shot my cousin Earl in the face.
I think there might be some kind of agreement going on where the aliens are like, let us do our thing, and if we find that the population is ready, then we'll announce ourselves. But I don't know.
In the meantime, let us probe them all.
Yeah, it's hard
Hard.
and fast.
If you were abducted by aliens, Jamie, and they had you on a gurney, and they said, we're going to stick this thing up your ass, but it's going to cure cancer, would you let them do it?
Would I have cancer in this story?
No. But they need your ass.
I mean,
Like, if they can study your ass
Look,
inside and out, and then
I
they can cure everything in the world.
I know it's a slight of my masculinity, but I would still do it for the
Okay.
cancer. I mean, I've had cancer, so it's not fun.
What if it had to be published throughout the whole world? What if you're the hero?
I'd be fine with it for a couple of years until I got ridiculed so much. I'd probably put a bullet in my brain,
Oh.
or say, I'm
Well-
going to travel with you guys to your home planet. I'd rather do that
Well,
than say
the needs of many, Jamie.
outweigh the few.
Outweigh the few.
Yep.
Take it in the ass by an alien.
As long as it's not like at least 2-3 inches in diameter, then I can't. Any more than that hurts.
Like, no, you're gonna put this thing up your ass. It pulsates.
It's a fucking tree.
So where were we talking? We were talking about whether we were prepared to know that aliens exist and whose decision was that, aliens or the government.
Right. And I think that we must have learned a lot. Like, the movie Paul can't be far off.
Okay.
Like, the technology advances we've had in the past 50 or so, 60 years, 70 years
Yeah.
now, have been ridiculous in terms of, and like our technology is growing at an exponential rate that, like, when, for example, when you have your parents talking about when they were younger, what they had for technology, and then, like, it seems like every so often, that it's a new generational shift in terms of understanding technology. Now it's like every 6 years, people are like, what was that? I couldn't imagine what that would be like,
Yeah.
without this and this, like internet. It's like, to me, I don't know. It's a little scary.
It's like a trade off. Like,
right.
give us some technology, we'll let you.
Give us some buttholes to rape, and
Well,
then
yeah.
we'll give you tech.
We only want like 20. We'll get them from the Midwest. Don't worry about it.
20,000, yeah.
They're not gonna say it.
Allagash.
Yeah, no one's gonna believe them anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's true because I look at like the Wright brothers. When did they invent the plane? 1911 or 13?
1903.
Was it that far back? And the jump, so we went from that, and when did we go in space? When was the first rocket in space? Not person, just like satellite.
Sputnik was the first satellite, 57.
57.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me we went from not knowing how to fly anything to putting stuff in orbit in like 50 years, less than 50 years.
Right. Yeah.
I don't buy it.
Planes and good planes in the early 1900s,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden
That's an amazing leap.
we know what space is like.
Yeah.
The space race happened soon after the A-bomb.
Yeah.
Kind of coincides with the whole story the documentary is
Did
discussing.
Einstein meet aliens?
I wonder.
Oh,
I
man.
bet
He was
did.
out in the middle of fucking nowhere working on that Manhattan Project.
Maybe he went with them in space.
Is Einstein an alien?
No, I think he
He
just
looks like an alien,
yeah.
except for his hair.
He'd be like, "We like your brain. You're close to our intelligence. We're going to take you with us."
Did you ever,
Your brain is almost as big as ours.
Did you ever hear about the guy who ran the morgue where Einstein was brought in? He stole Einstein's brain. Okay, because the family wanted his body cremated. He figured no one's gonna know that I took his brain out of his head. So he took his brain out, put it in like a pickle jar, and then sewed him back up. But then somebody noticed that his was tampered with, and the family tried to sue him. And he convinced the family that it's an amazing historical like relic or something. We need to preserve his brain, so they just let him have it. And he was obsessed with his brain, trying to figure out why Einstein's brain operated different than everyone else's. That he started cutting it up and stuff, and keeping pieces of it, and sending the pieces to scientists to study.
Now it's all fucked up, huh?
Yeah, now it's pretty much. But he ended up losing his wife, his family, everything, because he was obsessed with
He's a
Einstein's
psycho.
brain. And he was driving all around the country for like 3 decades with Einstein's brain in the passenger seat of his car. Isn't that amazing?
Fucked up. What tipped it off? Was it the fact that, hey, Carl, that brain wasn't on your desk about a week ago? I don't
And there's
know.
a brain in the fridge next to the mustard.
That'd be a good, like a buddy cop system, like Brain and Psycho. I don't know what his name is.
I don't know either.
So okay, how about this? We talked about earlier about interdimensional or ghost. What is that spiritual encounter really come from? What if it's aliens interacting with humans?
That's true. Because there is the theory that aliens don't come from other planets; they're just interdimensional.
Yeah,
They come from another dimension,
like Crystal Skull.
like Crystal Skull. God, no!
Yeah.
Don't bring it up. Just kidding. Yeah, because there was a group, it was an experiment, the skull experiment, is what not chewing skull, but. And what these people did was they just went into a basement and they were just like trying to channel ghosts or something. I think they had some psychics with them and everything. And they would just write down everything that they could get. They would take random pictures to see if they could get information. And their conclusion was that it wasn't ghosts, like we mentioned earlier, like dead people trying to contact us. It was beings from another dimension trying to get through, trying to cross over into our dimension. They didn't know why, They might be benevolent or malevolent, we don't know.
Okay, so let's say aliens are interdimensional. Are we alone in this dimension?
In this dimension.
Like, are we literally the only planet in the universe, in this dimension, that has life?
I don't know, Jamie.
You're supposed to know
I don't
this,
know this.
Red.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because, like, have you ever read what space travel would actually do to a human being if we went long term? It would basically kill us.
Bone loss, density loss, delusional.
Yeah, there was a whole list of things. Like, we would never survive a light years trips anywhere. Like, we need the gravity to basically keep our body together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unless it's real gravity, it's not going to work. So what if the same thing is with other? Like, I don't think we're alone in the universe. I think there's other planets
Just can't
that
contact.
have life. We just have no way of actually getting.
What if you were a woman in space? Because you could last a couple of years in space.
Racist.
And I'm saying if you were a woman and you became pregnant while in space and the baby survived and adapted. Maybe this sounds ridiculous, but
No, it doesn't. We should do this.
then
get a rocket.
Then if the baby, I don't know if it would adapt with one generation, but maybe that baby would be more adapted to that type of gravity and
see
that
what
type
you're
of
saying.
situation. So if you had like a space station or like a house on the moon, like some sort of airlocked house, or on Mars,
Yeah, maybe
You know?
like its DNA would adapt.
Yeah, and
to
then
its
after a couple
environment.
generations of doing that, and then that baby has a baby, blah, 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 down the road, and then maybe eventually we could adapt to that because we're made to adapt to different climates and different things, and then we apparently came from the sea at one point.
That's true.
You know, they always say that
I know.
eventually.
I never thought of like just the process of evolution. It's
Yeah,
like-
adaptation and evolution. Because adaptation is real. Everybody agrees on adaptation. Not everybody agrees on evolution, but I think that's kind of the same thing.
yeah.
So
But what if they come back to Earth where they just like crushed into Jello like as soon as they step?
I don't know. I'm
Right,
just assuming
they
that
crush-
if
yeah.
we're having Mars babies, that there's no more room in this
That's
shithole.
true,
So we're
yeah.
just like, get out of here.
the thing that which can solve this issue is if you think about it, if you were a caveman and aliens, or no, let's say we traveled back in time to a caveman world and we had a lighter, we had this and this, to them we're gods.
Yes.
So what's to say? What's to prevent the fact that an alien could come down and have that much of a difference in technology compared to what we know now? And so that is possible, but we're not there yet in our technological advances.
And why haven't they come back to here then?
Maybe they have. That's what. Maybe the whole alien
Yeah.
thing. They're watching us. Like you look at it, we're not. I don't know how old we are as a solar system, as a galaxy. I know that we were finding older and older ones, like closer to the Big Bang, but even 100,000 years earlier than us in terms of evolution and the creation of the world could mean so much in technology. Like 100,000 years for us now,
Yeah.
we'd have so many things done if we didn't kill ourselves. So like, there's
Dude, it's only been 2,000 years since the creation of the world. What are you talking about?
oh
Yeah.
right, excuse me,
Dude,
We forgot we didn't want to offend Kyle's sensibilities and his beliefs.
Jesus.
Jesus.
That's false. All of that is false.
So you know,
Jesus and the dinosaurs were walking
Because
around.
I'm such a Jesus freak.
high five. I'm a T-Rex. I can't.
Run, T-Rex!
I can't do that.
Raptors!
So I mean, like, okay, so there's some planets and solar galaxies that are millions of years older than us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even like Andromeda, a planet could have been developed 1,000 years before us. You know, the nearest galaxy, and then all of a sudden they're watching us. Could be a close neighbor like that. You know, you don't know.
Now, going to the theory of like they might just be studying us and watching us, and they showed a huge interest in us when we started developing nuclear weapons, which I've heard lots of stories about that, like nuclear tests getting shut down and they don't know why, and they see a UFO fly
Yeah.
by, like trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Do you think they would intervene if we were ever at the point where we had like a total, extinction level event caused by man, like nuclear war?
If
like,
it was time, yeah. If
they
that
would-
was the savior of it. I think
I don't know.
that'd be pretty cool. Because, I mean, if everybody's already freaking out and at the point of hysteria,
Yeah.
like across the world, and then, I mean, if they're going to step in, it might be overwhelming, but we're already all like,
There's no
Yeah.
better time.
like, well,
Yeah.
they're dead anyway. Might as well give it a shot.
yeah, and then everybody would just be so on such a high state of anxiety
Yeah.
that it would, what more could really, just take it all in, I guess.
There hasn't been a large-scale war since the atom bomb dropped. What if that's on purpose? What if we've been hindered every time a country or an official has tried because of an outside interference?
So did aliens just drop in on North Korea, or are they just bullshit?
Oh, they probably think as much as we do about North Korea. Fuck them.
Like they're a bunch of cartoons. They don't have any real missiles.
Kim Jong Un is trouble
What
with
they gonna
cheeks.
do?
Yeah. I mean, it's a far-fetched idea, but I mean, everybody talks about oh God, I'll have Gestapo at my door. Everybody talks about the government setting up certain things, and there's some reality to that. I mean, it wouldn't take much for somebody to believe that somebody's gonna protect their country for in the overall sense, in the greater good, as in Hot Fuzz would always say.
Yeah.
To kill a few people. I mean, you look at freaking dictators; they kill people all the
Yeah.
time to control their masses, and that's understood in their dictatorship country. So it's like people scoff at somebody like in a democratic world killing a couple people to get some kind of thing done, some task done, or bill passed. I don't know.
You mentioned did you say the Gestapo? What about the Men in Black? The real reports of Men in Black. What do you think they are?
The Secret Service.
Maybe they are the go-to people, the mediators for those aliens beings. I don't know.
The Area 51 agents.
I've read many stories that there's also something like paranormal about them, about how they arrive and disappear and all that other shit. And
Well,
gross.
if all of their
Nice shit.
theories are true, then they would maybe have harnessed the technology that has come here if it is
Yeah.
an alien thing or whatever.
Or like I just thought in my head when I said gross, they're crossbreeding.
the crossbreeding humans and aliens.
Oh yeah, getting that shit.
Yeah.
No, probably not. I go to sex.
We're
all
pretty
the time.
much going everywhere with these conversations.
Yes,
so it's
we're
not
going-
totally out of it.
So, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought. You go.
Should we go back to ghosts now or no?
Let's just keep it going.
Okay.
Why'd you want to tell a ghost story?
Well, I had that last ghost story that I can never explain, and of all the ones, I mean, I've told 3. This is my 3rd one, but it's something about this freaked me out the most. And then going back to the spiritual experiences when it's a loved one. So Travis and I were in our respective rooms watching TGIF, I think. And it was a Friday
TGIF
night.
is ready to fly high.
Was it Full House?
It was probably Family Matters at the point.
Was it
at that point.
dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Was that in TGIF?
I don't know. I just remember TJ.
I liked it a lot. Anyway, we were in our respective rooms. It was summer, I believe. So, as I mentioned earlier, the cellar staircase was near my room, but also on the other side of that was Trav's room. So he wasn't too far away. And in the cellar, if you walk down the cellar, there's 2 big wooden doors that pop open, and you can walk in and out of the house completely and go outside. So there was always an exit for Dad to go out and go to hang out with some guys, or that sounds wrong. Go
Fuck
hang
some
out with
guys.
go hang out with some buddies of his and drink and stuff. But Travis and I are watching our TV shows and all that, and we hear him scream. And now he's had a couple accidents in his life, mostly involving his hands, and he has a lot of tools in the basement. So we figured, it was that blood curdling scream, like I just cut my fucking hand off. And we could hear it in the yell. It was just so like guttural and emotional. Like we were like, Travis and I ran out of rooms like in a freaking movie, looked at each other and ran downstairs. Like holy shit! And we ran downstairs and the cellar doors were flown open. Like there was no one in there. Dad wasn't anywhere to be found. We went up outside the cellar doors, up in the hill, like to where our cars would be parked, and like there was no car there. Like we're yelling, Dad, where the fuck are you? And like because we're potty mouth little kids. And
Dad, what the fuck?
we're looking around like we heard him scream. It was his voice. And then we sit there, we wait for him to come back, and he'd been at the store down the road for about an hour. And we heard this when he was not there. And it wasn't like somebody out. I mean, let's put the fact that it was his voice aside. There was not like somebody was outside yelling. Because even if somebody was outside of the cellar door yelling, we heard it so like prominently in the stairway, like it was so close to where our rooms were that there was no way, unless somebody ran in. Did it have vocal changer effect? I don't know, because I can't explain it. I've thought about it constantly.
But you thought it was your father.
Right.
It sounded like your father.
And it's not dead or anything. He's still not dead, so it's not like he, I don't know. I can't explain it. So we made a joke that we have an uncle who died shortly after birth. We had a couple of boys that died in the family. One of them was unnamed, and one of them was named Daniel. And so we always joke that we have a ghost Uncle Danny who hangs out with my dad when we're not around or whatever. And that was
Until
him.
he screams bloody murder in
Right.
the shed, and you're like,
Like he
"Fuck."
stubbed his ghost toe on the pole or something. Like, "Ah!"
Well, why do you think? Okay, do you think like if ghosts are real and they're actually dead people that had met horrible tragic ends, or violent deaths or murders that? Do you think like the scary part of these supposed seeing these ghosts and hearing screams and stuff is just like an echo of the event that happened? Or do you think, I mean, why would you come back just to be a dick and scare everyone? You know what I mean? What would be the point of that?
It would be fun.
Well, yeah, it can be fun.
But you mean, what's the purpose for the ghost?
Yeah, like
Maybe
if they come back, why don't they just come back and say, "Hey, what's up? You want a beer?" I wish I could have a beer.
Well, it always seems like there's some sort of tragedy.
Yeah.
With people who are assuming that these are these ghosts. So I would assume that it was either something that nobody ever found out, like a murder that was never discovered, or something like that, or an accident that was never totally solved, or. It always seems like it's tragic. Maybe that's just a cliche movie way to explain it, but it feels like that's what it is.
Yeah, because a lot of them, when they're described, it almost sounds like it's just, like I said, an echo or a repeat of what happened. You know what I mean? Or something. Like with the girl crying in the bathroom.
Right, and then she
You know
was
what I mean?
killed.
You know, it could be either it's like something gets imprinted in our reality, like something that's so traumatic that it just loops. Or it could be like it is calling its way of saying help me or solve this or figure this out.
Well, that's what a lot of the, like, film adaptations say. Like, they have unfinished business, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I can't think of, because where the house we had before that house was there, it was all trees. So if somebody injured themselves cutting wood one day in the tree, I don't know. Like, there was no other house there before. Because, like I said, they had the story with the person walking up the stairs, and then that scream. So I don't know. That was within the same couple of years too. But I don't know. All three of those stories were in the same couple of years, actually.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's something following us at some point or something. But
So wouldn't that be a pretty shitty afterlife if you're just stuck in like some spot and you can't move?
Unless those people, that's like, because the other thought is that that's purgatory.
Yeah.
And then what brings you into purgatory? Is it because you have something else to do and this is it? Or were you just an asshole and then you got murdered because you're a dick and then here you are?
Yeah. You weren't a dick enough to go to hell, but you weren't dick enough, or you weren't good enough to go to heaven, so just sit your ass down here for a while and we'll mull it over.
Or just most people just rot in the ground, and because your life was so shitty, we'll give you a little bit of a buffer here before you just go away forever.
Do something.
Yeah.
Impress
Go
me.
do something with your life. With your afterlife.
That would suck more. Of like, there is an afterlife, but you're only waiting to actually just end completely, be nothing, exist as nothing.
Well, that would make sense why they're so haunting. Because it's the end. That's it.
That's funny because I read an article a few days ago talking about where are the ancient ghosts? Like, where are the ghosts from like thousands and 10,000 years ago?
Aztecs and shit.
Yeah, where are those? The
Or
only
Native
ones
Americans.
are like, yeah, it seems like every time there's a ghost story, it's either there's a limit of up to like 500 years ago.
Yep.
And because you think this place would be filled, everywhere would be filled with ghosts.
Well, what about, you would assume, I guess. Maybe that's part of ghosts aren't real.
Yeah.
But our
But they're not.
imaginations, right? But imagination takes over into things that we're used to seeing, maybe, or things that we predict as scary.
Yeah.
Project as scary. So maybe that's just, if they aren't anything, then maybe that's just your own mind in the modern world saying, "Oh, I saw the ring, and so a girl in white with dark hair is scary as shit."
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but but people have seen other ghosts, like demon style things. I've heard countless stories and seen things on TV of like Minotaur style, or like a goat head.
Yes,
things like that, which are supposed to be kind of like satanic.
Yeah, it seems like a religion.
Which could be another mind trick.
People believe it so much that they see like Virgin Mary and everything.
Or maybe there was a waiting period and these people have passed on. Either way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's like Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
That would be awesome. But yeah, because like the people who say that, oh, I saw the devil and he had horns and a pitchfork. But if you learn your history, like the Christian version of the devil comes from the image of Poseidon,
right?
Who had the pitchfork and the trident. So like, how can you? I'm sure it's in someone's head. Like, I saw the devil and he looked exactly like my book told me.
Right.
It looked like.
Yeah, because you just read the book and then you went to bed, so you probably had a nightmare about the fucking. Yeah. But then that totally brings back the. At what point is it imagination of the modern world, and at what point is it, like what you said, what Jamie said about it being about them taking over or crossing over at some point. So is there a certain timetable? And then now that's just because of what because of our current timetable. Is that what we see, or is that just our minds?
Let's because people. There's not a lot of I guess people who worship the Greek gods left. I guess shit like that. Maybe they just it's our subconscious.
Well, it's like Freddy Krueger. Like he has power through people's memory of him. I mean, that sounds stupid to correlate that, but maybe it's just
if someone remembers him, then he can come back.
Yeah, somebody who's never known him doesn't know a shit about him, right?
Yeah.
I had something to go with that, but I forgot.
Yeah, I'm more fascinated with people who have say they see things that they have had no exposure to whatever the subject was, at all.
Now, did you ever hear of ghost stories in older recollections about people from their past? Like any ghost stories you've ever encountered from the 1800s, for example?
Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot written in fiction, so there was still a concept of ghosts back then, like read Shakespeare play.
I think it has been throughout, no matter what, because of just people are going to see things that they can't explain, even if they are, it's my brother in the bushes or it's not. I mean, there are going to be things that people can't explain. And I think that's so the ghosts have always carried on, especially with people having loved ones who pass away. You want to have some sort of a cling to them,
Yeah, I'm sure the idea of a ghost has been since people discovered death.
Yeah, sure pretty much. Yeah, so wanting to hang on to a loved one.
But that goes on to the theory that the old stories of little people in the woods and stuff like that, the old fables and legends, and now we're saying we see aliens and stuff in the woods. You know what I mean? Like it's maybe those were aliens back then, or maybe we're seeing the little people that they saw in the woods. You know what I mean? Like it's the same creatures.
Well, you had brought up that article about that little creature. No, you didn't. They found a little creature.
Oh yeah,
Looked alienoid.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that actually.
And it was 6 inches tall.
Yep.
And they finally they've been studying it forever, and they autopsied it. They found it in 2002, I believe.
Yeah.
And they finally discovered it was human.
Yes. What happened was it was a guy named Dr. Stephen Greer bought a mummified remains of a little creature, little 6 to 8 inch tall, looks like a humanoid, but it's got a big deformed skull on it. Mm-hmm. And he's convinced it's an alien. Mm-hmm. But he bought it, paid for it, so he owns it. But he did a documentary recently, and he had scientists study it and X-ray it and do DNA tests on it and stuff to prove that it's not a hoax. And it turns out it is human. It's got human DNA. So there's no hoax around it being, not real at all. It is a creature that lived.
Yeah, it's something real. It has DNA.
It has DNA.
It said it was 18 years old or something. It was
No,
older.
it's not old. It's 2,000 years old. It's like a mummified.
No. When it died, it was close to full grown.
Oh, so that was an 18-year-old.
In there, whatever you call it.
Then it died at the age of 18.
Well,
whatever the age was.
The latest one says it was 6 to 8 years old.
Whatever. Yeah, I can remember what it was, but it was something it wasn't a child. But so is it the pygmies or borrowers?
Well, what doesn't make sense is, you know how they found the bones of supposed Hobbit people now that they classify, but they were just dwarves. You know what I mean? Or a little smaller.
Science says that 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, whenever humans back to written history, they were much shorter than now.
Yeah, exactly.
We've just been evolving.
Yeah.
Look at football players. They're all 6'10" and can run faster than anybody that I've ever seen.
Yeah. But this creature is the size of my beer bottle over here.
Right.
And it lived for 6 to 8 years. And doctors and scientists are baffled about how something they think it was a human that was born so deformed and mutated that's the size it stayed at. But usually, that severe a mutation, they would die. So for it to live 6 to 8 years, and back then, in
2,000 years
ago, it's how the fuck? That's what everyone's doing. They're like, what the fuck? How did that
My
live?
logic tells me on that is that people were smaller in general, and then that could have been, little people, a midget-sized version of people then.
A severe mutation of a Hobbit
and think
person.
about all the things that happen now, the elephant dude and the twins that are conjoined twins, things like that could have been some sort of miraculous. The brain worked enough for it to go.
Yeah.
And then for 8 years, and then it just it couldn't go anymore. So it could have been either one of two things, or a combination of people who are smaller. That's a midget style. I don't want to say midget, but and then and on top of that, it could have been just a very rare case, even if people were even close to what we are now.
Well, what's the shortest recorded person? It was a guy who was like 18 inches.
18 inches.
Yeah.
There's a guy
So it's
right
not
now.
too far off.
Yeah.
But he had like normal stature. This little creature
Yeah,
looks
this-
like he could fit in your pocket.
Yeah, this thing didn't look like it was disproportioned, except for its skull.
Right.
But its arms and legs looked normal.
Right.
Like if you took me and just shrunk me down 6 to 8 inches,
Yeah.
I look normal.
guys.
Hey, what's up? Put me in
Welcome
your
to
pocket.
Monster Rebellion podcast.
Pour me a beer. Put me in the beer.
I'll swim in the beer.
That actually would be awesome. It'd be cheap.
It would be cheap to live. But imagine having a little guy like that following you around everywhere. It was like a Disney cartoon. in
I'd put
real
him on my
life.
shoulder.
I know. I'd be like,
I
let's
call
go.
it mini me.
Let's go pick up chicks, dude. You're gonna so pick up chicks.
You're gonna get me so
You're
late.
gonna get me so laid. Crawling up into vaginas. Get out there.
Hey, that's the story. That's my little fuck buddy. All right. I gotta do that this summer.
Yeah.
yeah.
If we wore out our paranormal talk.
I just think to top it all off, I think with all of the evidence mounting, there has to be something in terms of spirituality, in terms of alien encounters. There's something there.
Yeah.
Whether or not we'll ever find out what it is more of a mystery to me than the actual
Yeah.
the truth that it's out there.
Yeah. Because I'm very much a like I believe people have answers out there, or like government organizations and stuff, but they're just not going to give it because as a society we want to be able to handle it. Like, look, if they came out and proved that there is an afterlife, but we just go to another dimension or something like that, imagine all the religions that would just riot and
We'd all like cut ourselves.
Yeah, because
Yeah, we don't-
right now none of that shit happens, and Muslims want to blow up the United States.
Yeah.
You know, not I shouldn't. That's a generality,
that's
but I
general,
mean,
yeah.
So
but
racist.
I mean, no, but I mean, there are extreme Muslims,
extreme
who-
religions that do these things. So imagine,
Yeah,
this would just
exactly.
push them over. you know.
Totally, yeah, they're just exactly.
Then they assume they really get their 72 virgins.
Yeah.
And they'll just kill each other.
Or how many
Yeah.
people are contemplating suicide but don't do it because they don't know what is going to happen to them.
Yeah.
If they now know that, oh, there's another dimension that I just go to.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna go to hell if I commit suicide. I'm just gonna off myself. Now my
Yeah.
life sucks. Bang.
Oh, that was another thing I wanted to bring up too. Like, so I'm a second year gardener. My name's Jamie. I'm a second year gardener. And then like, you know, just
This better be about a haunted garden.
no, not really. No, I have spirit rocks to protect
Spirit
myself. No, in the Jamie's Garden on the Gutter Snipes YouTube channel.
Did a Bigfoot shit in your garden?
Yes, it's fertilized forever. No, the so you know when you have a garden, you use decomposed like leaves and things like that. Like things are recycled to
Compost.
to serve
Organic
another
compost.
another purpose, right? So like the human body when it dies is recycled in that sense too, like carbon and all that stuff. But what about the consciousness? Like if that's recycled to another dimension, like another dimension is the afterlife. What if? Because you think about it, like our brain is made up of billions of cells. Our skin's made of billions of cells. But there's something there. This consciousness is something that it's so weird to explain. It's like a personality. It's like this and this and this. And it's, you know, for the most part, it's unique. And then to say that it doesn't also get recycled, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it.
Mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you look at the universe in general. I mean, in nature and stuff, things tend to naturally get recycled into something else.
Yeah.
You know, the whole concept of energy can't be created nor destroyed; it just becomes something else. You know.
Right.
Yeah, when
So
there's a
it's-
positive, there's a negative.
Exactly. So even if our bodies themselves become something else, they don't just disappear into nothingness.
Yeah,
you know?
well, that theory has been agreed upon for a long time, and if you take somewhere, you have to give somewhere else.
Yeah. Let's try it right now. Do we have a defibrillator?
If we shoot Jamie,
Flatliners.
Let's just do this.
if we kill Jamie, is there a baby born immediately?
There might be.
Well, what if?
What if Jamie dies and his spirit's put in a sperm that I blow into a sock?
My life wasted again.
Wow.
Then I become Kyle's sperm. And I become his child.
That's enough of this.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's enough for this week. Thanks.